So we're going to start with the first part, which is the pillars. So the pillars are these things that are on the building that hold up the porch, okay? Or they're called columns. We're going to use stippling on those, okay? So we're going to have them dark on the edges and then show a gradation to light as it goes towards the center of the pillar. And we're going to kind of work from the outside in. So this is how it's going to look, where it's going to be like darker on the edge here, and then we're going to try to go lighter. Now this area is really tiny, okay? So you kind of have to be careful that you don't like over stipple, okay? So stippling is simply dotting. So we're just you're gonna work with me, so you're all doing this right now. So we're gonna get close to that black line and we're gonna start putting in some dotting on the edges. It should be dark. And then you want to space your stippling dots out further and do less of them if you want an area to be lighter. Okay, so it's going to be dark on the edges where the black line is, and then just a few dots in the middle because we want that area to be lighter. So the closer together the dots and the more dots for stippling, the darker it gets. Okay, and it's the opposite. If you have less dots and you put them further apart, it's going to be lighter. Okay, so we're going to do the stippling on both of the columns. And these are very tiny, so they're done very quickly, right? So a lot of dots by the black line and then less dots. I can't see all of you because you're not on my screen right now. So I'd have to go through and find you. Oh, there you are, Ellie. So it'll look like what I'm doing on my example. It should look like this. So just look at my example, and if it looks like mine, then you're good to go. So heavy dotting by the black lines and just a few dots in the center. So it kind of looks like it fades from dark to light going in. Okay. Yes, and then you can also do, this is also part of the pillar, the little circles, so you can do those as well. Again, close dots, kind of clustered together on the edges towards the black line. So lots of dots close together, and then just a few dots kind of here or there to kind of make it look like it's a lighter area. In the front. So less dots, just a couple here or there. You're going to do all 4 of those. So again, close together, lots of dots towards the, edges, and then just a few kind of in between so we still have some stippling on there, but so that it looks lighter. Okay, and this is one of those things that you have to be very controlled with because you can get very messy quickly. So you do have to watch that you don't, oh, it went away. Okay, that you don't go quick. Yes. Well, the middle is the light part and the dark is on the outside of the pillar. Okay. All right, guys, so we're done with the pillars. All right, so if you have this paper and you want to like kind of keep track of what you're doing, I know it's backwards when you guys see it, but you can kind of check off that we're done with the pillars, okay? The next one is going to be the moon. Okay, so the moon, what we're trying to make the moon look like is basically going to look like this, okay? So it's going to be darker on the side with the tree and then go lighter as it goes towards the house. So we're going to start over here by the tree and we're going to put it a lot of dots close to the black line. What? No, you don't use, you just use light pressure. So don't press heavy like you're not smashing the tip of the Sharpie, you just gently dot. Okay, so if you're pressing really hard, yes, you will ruin your Sharpie eventually. So don't press hard, just light pressure. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to make a dot. Okay, also you want to make sure that you're not making dots that like when you like that you're doing quick and then it turns into little like teardrops like that. So make sure that you're actually like dotting the paper, picking up the pencil, dotting, so that it doesn't look like they have like oh gosh, little tails on them. So you want to be careful of that. My air server just went off. Perfect. I don't think I'll be using this recording. Might have to record fourth period because my air server just went off again. Where you can't see what I'm doing. Like the camera part went off actually, not the air server, sorry. I don't know why. And now I just took a picture. There we go. Oh well, that's okay. All right. Technology, fun. Okay, so at least you guys can see and it's clear. The document cameras are terrible, so this is a lot better than a document camera. All right, so we're going to keep going. And you want to make sure that when you're over here towards the bat, where it gets close to the house, that you leave that part kind of white, okay? So again, I'm just kind of putting this here so you can maybe see. That's kind of helpful, I think. So that's what we're kind of working towards. So again, making it very dark on the tree side. Dots are close together. Again, you have to be very neat and controlled. You also want to fade things out. So as you're doing it, you want to dot and then kind of spread them out as you get further away from the dark area. Okay, so not putting the dots super close because again, that's going to make it really dark. Okay, and I'm just kind of filling this in. Remember, we want to maintain that round sphere type of shape. So you want to be careful that you kind of go with the shape so it kind of has like a curve to it. Because if we fill in the whole thing, then it might start to look kind of flat. So we're trying to keep that shape. And just if it's not dark enough in an area, you just add more dots. Unfortunately, if you go too dark, you can't take dots away. Okay? So I always tell kids to go easy on it first and then go back and add more dots if you think it's not dark enough. Okay? It will start to, some areas will start to bleed the dots together and it will get dark. That's okay. That's, if it's supposed to be dark, that's fine. Okay? And then again, once you start to get further out, you're going to spread your dots out more and have like fewer of them. Okay? So when I get to these lighter areas, I'm just going to kind of randomly scatter my dots and not have any of them really close together because I want it to be lighter. Okay, you also don't want it to look like it has stripes. You want it to kind of fade from a dark to a light value. So you want to, again, try to fade that out. So you add a few more dots here or there to kind of make that be a gradual change over from dark to light. You don't want it to what we call jump. Okay, and then just be careful you're not getting those, what I say, it looks like tadpoles, like little tails on your dots. So make sure that you're not going too fast so that it's nice and controlled. And, you know, you can go as dark as you want. If you want that true black, you really have to do lots and lots of dots. Some kids are like, well, why can't we just color stuff in? Well, because we're doing rendering techniques. Okay, so we don't want anything to be solid. Anything that you have to make very dark, you're going to use a technique on and just use a lot of that technique repeated. And that's how you get the area darker. So that's called stippling. Okay, and I'll give you guys, let me look at, some people have it on their work so I can see what you guys are doing. Okay, so it looks like some people are done. I'll give you a minute to finish that up. Graham, that looks good from over here. I could see from the back of it when you held it up. I can see a nice gradation there. Good. Okay, so this is working out great. All right, so I'm going to check off that we finished our moon, okay? So what we're going to do is our moon is our light source in this picture. So what that means is that the moon is bringing us light. Okay, so anything that's on this side is going to reflect a lot of light onto the house. Okay, so that's where we start to get into some of our things becoming lighter, and depending on where the moon light is going to hit it. Okay, so the next things we're going to do is clouds. And somebody's like, what? There's no clouds in this picture. I know. You have to draw them in. Okay.
Wait, what
So,
about the bat?
so what?
What about the bat?
Oh, we're going back to it. I'm just going in order on the sheet here, but we'll get it later. Okay. So next is the clouds. We're going to actually be doing some hatching on the clouds. So I'm going to show you what hatching looks like. Hatching is simply controlled lines rather than dotting. So stippling is dotting, hatching is controlled lines. So this is what hatching looks like, okay? And you can see on the clouds, it's just like some lines, okay? So what we're going to do is you guys are going to draw some clouds in, okay? I happen to put one like behind the house and then one over here because that's where I felt I had some space. So where there's some empty space, you're going to throw some clouds in. No, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to kind of draw some clouds in a cloud shape. Again, this is a practice, so I just thought it was one more thing to get in there that we could do some cool hatching on. So you're going to draw some clouds in your sky, in your blank space. Fancy. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we have to remember that the moon is our light source. So where the moon is close to anything, it's going to be very light. So since my cloud here is right next to the light of the moon, the only part that's going to be dark is the part that's way over here far away from the moon. Okay. So I'm just going to do some controlled lines, which are called hatching. It kind of looks best if they're like different sizes, and we're just going to kind of do a little bit of hatching on there. And again, I'm going to keep this side pretty white because I don't really want much rendering over there, because again, that side is getting the moonlight, so we don't want that to be too dark. Okay, so we're going to get a little hatching here. Kind of have it fade out. You can make them different lengths, and then just kind of have it where there's only a few lines at the end where it fades. So lots of lines, and then going to less lines, spread out more. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on our second cloud. And this side is closest. Did I just freeze? I did. I'm frozen, not in real life, as you can see. That's so weird. Why, I don't know why the camera keeps going off on this, but I guess it only stays on so long, maybe when you're not recording or something. Okay, so this one we're going to do the same thing, hatching. So we're going to use those nice controlled lines of different lengths. So you could do some short lines, some longer. And again, spreading them out to start because we don't want to get too dark too quick. I always just do kind of a few to get going. We're going to keep this side open with just white because there's no rendering over there because of the moonlight. And then I'm going to go back in and make this end darker by adding in some lines.
What if you can put a cloud behind you?
Yeah, pretty dark, yeah. Katarina said if you did a cloud behind the moon, would it be dark? And yeah, it would, because it wouldn't be receiving much light. So it would be fairly dark. Okay, so we got clouds done. Check, check. We're moving right along. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm actually going to skip. I know I said I was going to go in order, but I'm going to skip the siding part because for the siding, you guys actually need a ruler. And I didn't tell you to have a ruler today, so I'm going to leave the siding part for tomorrow, okay? So make sure you have a ruler tomorrow ready to go for siding. And I'm going to kind of skip down a little bit to some of the other things that are already in here. So let's go down to tree. Okay. So tree, we're going to use the